Hey, Planeswalkers, hope you're doing well and staying safe. Welcome to the weekly episode of Friday Night Meta, my friends. It is yours truly, MetaMaster Mythras here, bringing you all things meta-related, equipping you with the top decks to put you on top of your game and understand where things are going so that you can stay ahead of what's going on. So with that, appreciate you tuning in today. Flip me a like if you enjoyed today's video, if you like the segment. Let me know if you got questions or comments. Feel free to chime in. Also, you can hop in the Discord server that's readily available for you. We're like 200 strong there. Absolutely incredible. So thank you, everyone, as always. Today, what we do have going on, feel free to check out the timestamps down below where we will cover a recap of last week for you. I'm adding a new little bit also on some personal segment stuff there for the week. I got a lot of good feedback on that last week, so I'm going to try and incorporate that as a new bit. And additionally, obviously, we're going to get to the data, the information that you want in best of one and best of three. Then we'll cover a key deck for you this week to help you with your game. And last but not least, we'll give you some qualitative information around some of the tournaments and things that impact this play. So with that, Planeswalkers, again, questions, comments, let me know. Great way to support the channel down below and flip me that like if you enjoy it. So here's what we got going on this week. So quickly, in terms of a recap, mono white life gain was thrown even further by a couple different decks, notably 4-color cycling. Winata was starting to come back as well. And then in terms of best of three, we continue to see that pull through in Naya Adventures, Shell, you name it, tokens, whatnot. Sultai Ultimatum continued to dominate as a main archetype and has continued to skyrocket. So we covered also off on Mono Black Auras as a cool, fun deck that's a good one to trigger Winata and help you with your match. And last but not least, we did talk a little bit about the Strixhaven 5K tournament as well that had some impacts. And we did get some additional influence and upward mobility in Rakdos Sacrifice. So this week we do have a lot more going on here, and we're going to talk about that in a second, but that is the recap. The other couple things and weekly information for you, I've now recovered from being sick, and on top of that, though, next week I do have surgery. I'm getting a meniscus repair, so bear with me, and looking forward to doing more segments, so stay tuned. We'll give you an update on that next week, and I'll be laid out a little bit. So with that, that's what we got going on. But in the Magic world here, there are some fun things I did want to share. I did a double header. I've been doing more historic decks this week because I want to get you out a nice little tier list there as well. We got the standard tier list coming, but I did hit a double whammy where I've not only won out in best of one and best of three in the video segment, so that's 4 key wins in a row. I not only did it in standard, and I also did it in historic same day. So that's pretty rare for me to do. I just want to highlight that. The 2 decks were Gruul Adventures, Gruul Aggro out of the Rivals, and I'll make sure the information's for you down below. And additionally, we did it with the Boros Burn deck by Delwar. Definitely a big contributor to the Reddit spike. So want to call those things out, some additional information. Let me know what you think, if you like those updates and whatnot. And still trying to sell the house and got to see baby this week, so that was awesome. So with that, we'll get into the data here for you now. Here's what we got going on in terms of best of one. Mono white life gain now has the top spot back in terms of win rate across the board here, bronze to mythic. Here's what we got going on in terms of our archetypes and percentage play. It's still heavily leaning towards mono red aggro, Boros, Winata, mono white life gain, and then Sultai Ultimatum at that top end. And then as we look at the flip side here, the top 4 are still really dominating in terms of the win rates as well. We see mono black aura still in the mix. Is it dragons is becoming a little bit more of a thing. Same in terms of meta. So let's go down here and we'll take a look. What's interesting though that we're seeing here is we're seeing upward mobility on the win rates, which is pretty interesting, but at the same time, things have kind of leveled off over the last week here. So 14, so about a week, a little bit more. We saw it and covered a lot of that spike action going on, and then since then it's been kind of going sideways. So let's go ahead and take a little bit more competitive look because we are over halfway. So we're going to get a little bit more of a slice and dice favor. We see the Boros cycling there again, not the 4 color. Additionally, here we have kind of similar top end, Boros Venata on the more competitive side versus their mono red aggro, mono white life gain, reclaiming the top end in terms of the win rate. And then here's what we got going on. Again, similar thing going on the competitive side. We do see mono white life gain getting that little bit of a boost, everything else going sideways. But again, upward mobility on these win rates here, particularly on the 3 competitive aggressive decks here in best of 1. We're also seeing mono black auras still as part of the higher end, which is good in terms of competitive nature. Is it Dragon Sultai Ultimatum falling down a little bit again, and then the bigger archetype there. So that is our best of 1 look today. Let's go ahead and take a look at our best of 3 here for you and drill into this as well. So a couple of different things here. Key players on the top, mono white aggro. We got Dimmer Rogues, that Naya Adventure still doing well. We got Gruul Adventure up there. Oddly enough, mono red aggro's in the middle. It was one of the stronger ones. We got Izzet in there as well. Temur Adventure actually being the weakest win rate here. We can pull up here so you can see that. Additionally, on popularity, we continue to see Sultai Ultimatum at almost 20%, so 1 in 5. Mono red still strong, still going up. The big uptick here is it Dragons? Look at this dramatic thing that we got going on here. So very, very impressive, very interesting. We see a huge fall off on Gruul Adventure. We do see a pretty big fall off on Dimmer Rogues. But then when we do look at, again, at some of these win rates, we're starting to see that upward mobility on things like Gruul Adventure coming back, Dimmer Rogues starting to come back. Mono Red's Snow Aggro is a little bit different. We got the Mono Red Aggro there. Is it Dragons again? Really coming up, but again, being flat on the win rate. Sultai Ultimatum kind of flat and so forth. So those are all key things to keep an eye on. It's interesting always to see Mono White Aggro at the top here and then reverse on the archetype. You tend to see some of those things trend together a little bit as they move in from there. So let's go ahead and we'll take a look again at the higher end because it's important. Again, similar story here in terms of what we got going on. Let's go back down here and look. Similar stuff again. It's not so drastic in some of the drop-offs on some of the other competitive decks. We're starting to see some of those win rates. Again, Temur Adventure getting hit pretty hard on both win rate as well as popularity. Naya Adventure continue going up. We're seeing some momentum on the Gruul Aggro, Dimmer Rogues, Mono Red Snow Aggro, Izzet Dragons, Mono Red Aggro, and then Sultai Ultimatum. So again, that's what we got going on. I think fairly interesting. Again, the biggest play is just that massive jump in the Izzet Dragons side of things, and we'll talk about that here in a little bit. So that is the recap in terms of best of 1 on the data side, in terms of best of 3 on the data side. Now I want to equip you with a fun deck. We are going to go ahead and do Gruul Adventure. One, again, it still is very competitive. A couple of players, particularly one in particular, I think it was Team Painted, crushed it with the Gruul Adventure deck, making Mythic and having a really, really fast drive and fast grind in terms of that Mythic mobility. Right after essentially posting the video, doing a rivals version. So we'll go ahead here and we're going to look at some of the win rates. We got the high ones here. This gives you an example of the deck. I'll post it down below. You can take a look at what we got going on here. Again, you'll have opportunities and options with it down below. So let's go back. We're going to take a look again in terms of... We'll go back to meta. Sorry about that. We'll click in. We'll take a look at this one and look at the matchups. So this is what we wanted to see. Where is it strong against? We did a Sultai Nest deck this week. It's good against Rakdos Aggro, Jeskai Cycling, a lot of these other decks that you're seeing here. And then when we flip it up on the win rate, doesn't do as well against Adventure, doesn't do as well as against Aggro and Temur Adventure, and it's pretty split here, so it's close. So a lot of the stuff, it does really, really well against the meta. It's weak against a couple things. Doesn't mean that it's a killer. Again, you can look at some of the match statistics. I might be a little bit more closer to that 50%, but these are good indicators too on some of these bigger decks on the top end, like rogues, again, if you're looking for something else. So very important there. I'll scroll down so you can see that. But again, Gruul Adventures, a key deck to keep an eye on, something to manage and watch out for as well. And again, this includes the Magda version. There's a couple of variants of it. This one here is running the Magda version, so we'll make sure we have that those cuts for you too. So Planeswalkers, again, if you got any questions or comments, let me know. Feel free to ask a question in the Discord server. We did run this on Twitch today too, so you can check that out and see. We went like 5-4 with it, so pretty not terrible, pretty good. We did, like I said, crush it though a few days ago when we ran the video, so it was pretty nice. So that's what we got going on in terms of the deck here. I wanted to equip you with one that you can take a look at and use and play well. Now let's figure out why some of the data was what it was. So the first big one here, something I did want to check out that was kind of interesting, the Insight Esports deck tournament from last week. We did have 111 players. What I found actually most interesting here is mono white aggro, mono white aggro, mono white aggro. So that was pretty unique. And again, Jessica is cycling at the top, and then when we look at percent of the field, heavily Sultai ramp, heavily mono red aggro, heavy Izzet tempo. Again, lots of Izzet tempo coming back, and 5 decks being mono white aggro, 80% win. And again, 3 of the 5 at the top. So that's pretty crazy. I thought that was pretty interesting to check out, and something pretty important to keep an eye on. And on top of that, we did have Panda, Angry Panda, ran their version of the deck, made it top 1500. We posted that. You can check that one out too. Another cool one, again, is the Big Magic tournament. So here, this one's got 202 players in it. Again, last Friday, we got a different spread here at the top, but we still got the mono white aggro. We now see Sultai Titan's Nest here. We ran a video on that this week. We got the traditional Yorion Sultai Ultimatum, but then another cool one, Simic Aggro here. So looking forward to running this deck for you. It's something to keep an eye on too, if you enjoy the top deck videos. And then the other big piece that we did want to cover off on today was obviously the big news with the MPL and the Pro League. I didn't want to comment on it today, but I did want to call out this particular piece. We saw Seth Manfield step in here, crush it with his Izzet mid-range list. This is the list, very, very influential in terms of some of that spiking in the meta. So something very important to keep an eye on, and certainly a part of that. Not all of it, but definitely something we were talking about also going into the weekend in the Discord, and coming even more to fruition as a way of getting better and more refined. I know there are a lot of content creators also playing these lists, but certainly it doesn't hurt when you got players like Seth doing this, and then also getting into that rank 3 spot there as well. So just want to call that out. Great work, Seth, and great work to everyone else in the tournament, particularly PV, DDR as always, and a lot of fun there. So with that, Planeswalkers, that is what we have going on this week. Let's go back and we'll check out our meta here. As always, appreciate your support. Today we covered a recap. We talked a little bit about some fun weekly updates, personal stuff, as well as some stuff from the Magic realm that we've covered over the week. We talked and worked our way through the best of 1 data, the best of 3 data, wide range, competitive range. We gave you a key deck, equipped you with that Gruul Adventure one, something fun. Good spot to be playing right now. Seen some short-term success with it as well. And then additionally, we covered off on some key tournaments and some impacts and some interesting information there for you too here. So Planeswalkers, as always, much appreciated. I'm a humbled human being, just like many of you. Great community, and always much supportive. So appreciate it. Flip me a like if you enjoyed today's video. Other great ways to stay in touch down below. Article will be for you too. I've been doing that as well, so check those out. It gives you some additional color and content as always. If I miss it here, it gives you another flavor and take. But with that said, Planeswalkers, as I said before, great way to support the channel. Down below in the details, questions or comments, let me know. Discord server information is available to you as well. Flip me a like, and we'll see you again soon. Stay safe. A lot of things coming on this week. I got those tier lists coming your way, so stay tuned for that. I'm going to get you a historic one, and I'll get an updated standard list one as well, and lots of key top decks, and obviously the weekly series. So take care, Planeswalkers. Check me out on Twitch. We had a lot of fun on there the last couple weeks. Love to see you there. Great ways for us to interact, and we'll see you soon. Mythras out.